I'm here with acclaimed Calgary-born multidisciplinary recording artist Alida Kinnie Starr. Alida has experience with stalking and social media surveillance. I wanted to ask her about her experience. For the first question, can you please tell us a little bit about your experience with your stalker? Did you feel like you were under surveillance? Surveillance. Talk to us about surveillance, please.
Hey, so yeah, I was I was stalked for 3 years by someone who left like anonymous letters to the home, but also detailed accounts of the inside of the house, like where I was going to be like raped and hung and stuff. It was very, very frightening. They targeted my dad in particular, I guess, but through researching me, I guess I've written about my dad like over the years, but they were also following me on my social media channels and kind of like conducting very, very frightening shit. Uh, I definitely felt surveilled because I was, and the way that they stopped, way she presented as a male, so I thought there was like some big dude. Yeah, um, yeah. So yeah, it turned out to be a girl, but she presented as someone she wasn't. And because we didn't know who it was, we were always scared of everybody for years. And how she was found out was it was so multi-layered, and the only reason why the case was successful is because there was a female cop assigned to my case, and she was young and she had a lot to prove. Because it's very hard to get an arrest, and it's even harder to charge someone. And so anyway, the stalker eventually, they were leaving, I guess they left fingerprints on their letters, and in the end, an arrest was made where she was, because the police asked her for her fingerprints while she was under a suspect, and she wouldn't agree to do it, but eventually they were able to demand her to do it. The feeling of being surveilled continues to be, and became at that time, kind of a feeling of like just being covered in fear, like a real sense of unease everywhere I went, because she presented as like some big dude that was gonna like, you know, rip my vagina apart through rape and hang me and shit, and like called my dad, talked about my dad, called him like a alcoholic half breed and like a half breed chug, and like, yeah, that feeling of racism and fear is a bad feeling. And I don't, that is definitely, I feel like being visible, I mean, that's why I'm way more selective now about what I put up on the internet, and I don't post like I used to post a lot on Facebook. I don't use it since 4 years. I went on there in January to say hello, but that and Twitter, I left Twitter too. I'm like, nah, no fucking thing. It's all the weirdos just hovering at their computers, feeling aggression towards other people. Nah, like, so I'm much more careful now, which is a good thing.
Did your behavior change beyond social media? Did that feeling of surveillance extend into regular life?
Absolutely, my behavior changed beyond social media, because social media and real life are sort of the same thing. If social media creates anxiety, your behavior is going to be anxious. Yes, the feeling of surveillance was with me every day, pretty much all day, everything I did, everywhere I went.
Do you have any insight, advice, or warnings about other forms of surveillance, like governmental or social media based data collection and recordings, for example, or apps spying on you through your mic and camera?
I know that anytime we make a move online and like buy something from any store, or every time we enter our information, we're giving our more information, such as location, etc., away. Like, there can be 200 companies that jump on and collect data while we do a financial transaction. So we're
I don't I don't really have any solution. I mean, I suppose the solution would be to not use computers and any social media, but there's not very many people that do that. So my advice for this stuff is to study. But like Shoshona Zuboff has written basically the encyclopedia on this subject after she's been studying the internet and surveillance capitalism for 15 years, I think. But it's a very long form read, and most people don't even listen to things that are longer than a minute before their attention span is changed. And that is obviously from our brains being trained to think in truncated fashion. But yeah, Jaron Lanier, Shoshona Zuboff are my two key points. Lanier is a pioneer in virtual technology and a Silicon Valley guy who now basically wants a whole rewrite of the internet. So yeah, those are my opinions. For those who like to study and read, I suggest those two people.
Thank you for sharing.